Can you see?
The link?
No, as in my desktop.
Yes, I can
No.
see. I can see
wait,
that we're
wait.
going live on YouTube now.
Ah, okay.
Okay, we are
No.
going live.
Oh, wait, wait.
We're live on YouTube now.
Ah, okay.
Is there something else I can help with?
Okay, we are going live.
Live on YouTube.
Ah, okay.
Hold on, let me just get the link. Let me share the link.
Wait.
Give me a moment. Okay, the link is up. Hold on. Okay, hi everyone. Good afternoon. So welcome to Living the NHR series. Today with me are my friends. We are going to discuss on the topic of sustainability. I can't see Xing Yi. Okay, great. So just to give our audiences some context about today's series. So Living the NHR series is basically a dialogue, a sharing where I started off a couple of weeks ago and I shared my thoughts on subjects that I relate to. For example, my mom's suicide, my sexual orientation as a homosexual, basically what I learned from my life, and of course I shared them based on Buddhist perspective as well, because that's what empowered me to be who I am today. And just last night I was having a dialogue with my friends, and we were talking about this lady called Hazel Henderson, and it just sparked this spontaneous thought to have to do a series on sustainability. So I invited my friends. I'm gonna just I can't see seeing again. So we've got Zijing, we've got Halsa,
Hi.
we've got Suman, and
Hello.
Xingyi. Okay, so today's discussion will basically be on the broad umbrella of sustainability, and we'll all share our point of view on the topic. So I guess my role here is to facilitate, and I'll begin with this particular excerpt from the peace proposal that Dr. Daisaku Ikeda submitted to the UN earlier this year. So let me share. So this is hold on. Okay, so this is the quote that I want to share with all of you. So in this year's peace proposal, there were three submissions, or three proposals, three ideas that Dr. Daisaku Ikeda submitted to the UN, and this is one of the three. It's titled Youth-Led Climate Action. So just to read to you why I chose this. So the UN Youth Climate Summit that took place ahead of the Climate Action Summit last September in 2019 can be seen as the emergence of a new kind of United Nations. I say this because it displayed the following characteristics. Maybe I can enlist the help of Zijing, Helsa, and Suman to just read one each. Zijing first?
Yeah, sure. The UN Youth Climate Summit that took place ahead of the Climate Action Summit last...
You read point one.
I'm so sorry, everyone. Okay, 1. The young people from more than 140 countries and territories participated not as representatives of their respective states, but as representatives of their entire generation.
Thank you, Zijing. Helsa, number 2.
I'm lost. I don't know why it is.
Point number 2. If not, maybe Suman first. Suman, point number 2.
Okay, so point number 2. The various discussions at the summit were moderated by the youth and not by UN officials.
Thank you. Maybe Singi, point number 3.
Number 3, rather than the standard speaker by speaker format of UN meetings, there was an emphasis on promoting lively discussion.
Thank you. Helsa, are you back live? I can't see you, Helsa.
Sorry. Can you see me now?
Yes, okay. So, more than anything, however, was the fact that the UN Secretary General Guterres, he served as a keynote listener at the opening session, intently focusing on each of the statements by the youth reps. So, I find this very, very revolutionary because, typically you invite a keynote speaker, like someone of a high power, high authority, high status, and then they would come down and share, the agenda or share the keynote. But last year at the UN, there was this revolution where the keynote, or rather the UN Secretary General, he was there to be a listener. So he was there to listen to what the youth had to say about climate change. And I find that this is really the start of something new, and it's very important. So yeah, I guess we can kickstart our discussion. I can't see Suman, I can't see Helsa, but let's begin. So I guess we can, to facilitate, I will just ask one question to all of us, and we'll just take turns to share our perspective. And of course, we can also engage in spontaneous discussions about what each other have to share. So maybe to begin, Suman, can you hear us, Suman?
Yes, you called
Okay.
me. Actually, I was trying to send the link on Facebook, but it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, so well, like to add on to
maybe my question would be, when you think about sustainability, what's one one major thing that comes to your mind when you think about sustainability? Yeah.
I think the most important thing right now is to realize that this word sustainability is not something foreign or not something that we are obligated to do, but it's more of something that we are required to do. I mean, realizing that we are interconnected with our environment and our society. So everything we do has a kind of impact. So I just want to highlight first that sustainability is not a foreign voluntary action. It is a realization that we have the responsibility to protect our environment, to ensure that our future, not only us, but our future descendants, every living being on earth has a chance to live. So first highlighting that, so I will go into, and please Ivan check time for me because I tend to talk a lot, but I think that one of the most pressing issue right now that I feel that all of us we have in common is that it's about climate change, yeah, and so I have myself like thought about various climate issues, and I mean there are many pressing issues, including right now the lack of like the more I research, like the lack of, I'm not sure if you guys know, like the lack of water. We are running out of water as well. So
Clean water, is it? Clean water?
Yeah, clean water. So but I will not go into that today. I just want to talk about clean water and so many other pressing issues, including air pollution. But today I want to talk about something that we can feel, and it's accumulating, which is climate change and global warming, and carbon emissions. So for me particularly, like I think all of us, we can feel the weather changes, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this one is just what I've seen and researched. Like, people misunderstand that climate change itself, it's uh how do I say, it's like it is present. It is more of a, so for example, when you see a typhoon happening in Japan, like people say like, oh, the typhoon has happened before. So when we say like the typhoons in Japan like, are getting worse, and people say like, oh, but these typhoons have always been there. But the thing is, the how devastating the effect is, it's becoming more accumulative, becoming worse. Yeah, so just like yeah, so the thing now is to realize that climate change is not yeah, sorry if I'm going too far, please pull me back. Like, the thing about climate change is not that it will be a sudden effect. It is a cumulative. So it comes, yeah, it haunts you in very slight ways, to the point where, it's like the frog in the boiling water.
Yeah.
If you turn the water on slowly, it will feel like, oh, it's okay. But by the time it notices, it's too late. So, yeah, this is an example. So, yeah, so I was researching about carbon emissions, and I realized that agriculture contributes a large amount of carbon greenhouse gases, and like one of the gases including methane. So uh, I went to research more, and I realized like a lot of land use, a lot of land use. So let's say 100% of the, so let's compare like 100% of the land that can be used right in living right now, I mean that we live in right now. 50%, if at least 50% right now is used for agriculture. Yeah, and out of this 50%, more than 50% is used for grazing and growing stock for live feeding and for feeding. So a lot of food and a lot of land usage is actually used for animals. Yeah, the for to poultry and beef and so on. So I tried to reduce my. I'm not saying here right now that we must. So I tried to reduce my consumption of meat. Yeah, and
Okay.
and yeah, and not saying that we should reduce or become vegetarians, or yeah, but I'm saying that I think reducing, for me personally, like, this is a pressing issue, so reducing my meat consumption, yeah, it is
Okay.
something important for me.
Interesting. Does anyone wanna engage Suman in a conversation about what she mentioned earlier? By the way, I can't see Singy. Singy's hidden from view. Ziting or Hausa or Singy, do you want to add on to what Suman shared?
Yeah, I agree with her. I think without going extremely to from one end to the other end, it'd be good to like take baby steps and first reduce your consumption first, and then as you reduce and you move towards a certain lifestyle, it seems more doable than just going, oh, you jump straight to what you would like to achieve. And then what happens is that sometimes, like, I've known plenty of people who want to reduce or who want to go on this conscious lifestyle, but because they made too far of a jump, they can't sustain that the ideas that they have.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I was one of them. Like, you try to just go to the extreme and you fail, or it affects not sure if you guys know, like, for people with weak constitution, it does affect your health, so you need to really start slow and read up.
Yeah, I guess I'm also guilty of that as well.
Yeah, I think so am I. So like one thing that Suman mentioned earlier that I thought was really important for us to be thinking about is, when we want to talk about having a sustainable planet, right, we need to first make sure that our practice is sustainable as well. So if we were to make such a big jump, right, without being conscious about how it affects our life, then we may like be seen to many people as being very extreme on our lifestyle choices, or we may feel really uncomfortable after a while and we may give up in the long run. So it's very important for us to really think how can we really practice it sustainably. And I felt like many people, after seeing the courageous actions and hearing the voice of Greta Thunberg, right, we may feel like, hey, she's someone that I aspire to become, and I have to say that I really respect and admire this young lady. One thing that I feel like on hindsight, right, is we may have to rethink about how the media and then the social media platforms are portraying her, because when we have a hero mentality, right, it does make many people feel like they're inadequate or they are not enough. And I think that's something that we really must prevent, because everyone has immense potential to change. And if we were to write the climate crisis narrative as if it's just one girl or just one guy, who makes who changed the entire face of the organization or the community they belong to, then it can make many people feel very cynical and feel very helpless or not powerful enough. Yeah, so that's something that we could think about. How do we write the narrative about times?
I like that actually. I want to chip in on what the thing you mentioned. I feel that this era that we're in, we are no longer in an era where it's one dictator, one leader, one person who changed the course of history. If we talk about the past, maybe in Singapore, in our context of Singapore, maybe 40, 50 years ago, one man built the nation, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, the late Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. But fast forward to today, it will never be just one person. We are not waiting for that one next Lee Kuan Yew, LKY. No, I feel that we are in this era where we have to consolidate, we have to unite, and as humanity, as youth, we have to be agents of change ourselves. We have to empower ourselves, we have to educate ourselves, and we have to voice out and take action together. And I feel that this is the way forward, where youth around the world, we are aware of what we can do, and together we take actions in our own small little ways. And I feel that this is the permanent positive way to effect change, any change actually, around us. Yeah. And people like Greta Thunberg, she is just the tip of the iceberg. She is just a spark. But really, more important than Greta Thunberg is really the masses, the people like you and me, the nameless, anonymous, behind the scenes people. And I want to highlight one thing as well. It is about the social media effect, or rather the fact, because I mean, social media, Facebook has been around for a couple of years, 10, 15 years, and I'm sure you will realize that, it's like hashtag, the trend, the campaign, the movement would fade after a couple of months, after a couple of years. And something as pressing as climate change, or for example, just to jump on a bandwagon, Black Lives Matters, an issue, a topic that is so closely related to human lives, or to the dignity of life itself. I feel that it cannot be a social media trend. It has to be part of our living, and in order for that to happen, we have to take a hard look at ourselves and think, what can I do, and not wonder what should the government do, or what should the political party do, or what should Greta Thunberg do, instead of pointing finger at someone else and criticizing what they should do better, or what they should be doing instead. I think that we should reflect on ourselves and ask ourselves, what do I want to do? What can I do? Maybe climate change is not a issue that you are passionate about, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, in this world that we live in, there are so many issues that you can partake in your very own capacity. So it's really about you choosing your own path, your own mission, and deciding that, okay, this is what I want to do. And in my own capacity, in my own power, I will contribute my efforts. Yeah. How
Can I
about,
just add on to one
of
point?
course, yes.
So sorry.
No.
So I would like to just do a quick share of my screen.
Okay.
So back last year, I found this image. It's from the Stockholm Resilience Center. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
So over here, right, Ivan mentioned just now about how every one of us, we need not make climate change necessary. Like if we don't feel for it, you know, then we can look at other goals that we feel for. And I'd like to just share this so that we can put in perspectives how all the current sustainable development goals, the global goals that are promoted and advanced by the United Nations, how we can practice them in our own lives as well. So over here, right, if we kind of like regroup and categorize the global goals, you will see that, right, at the bottom there are 4 big goals, and these goals, right, talks about a thriving biosphere. How can, when we have a very thriving life on earth, life underwater, and climate action, right, that we know we will be able to sustain and have a thriving society, which are the next 8 goals. And how having a thriving society, right, we can have a thriving economy. And of course, in order to have a thriving biosphere, a thriving society, and a thriving economy, we will need to have partnership of all the goals. So it's very important for us to really think, even if I don't identify with climate change or climate action, how can I take very small steps in my own life, right? So that, right, I can advance the other goals that I care about too as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Jing. Does Helsa or Xing want to share your thoughts? So my question earlier was, when you think about sustainability, what's one thing that comes to your mind? Helsa or Xing?
I think it's really changed. It's really changed from within. I feel that that is the one thing that if we focus more on, because if it like you know what we spoke about just now, when we want to make too far a leap or we want to make a superficial change because you're inspired for the moment, it's not going to last for a while. So I think you really need to truly change from within if you want to change the world. So if you change within, you have to commit. That's one. I was reading this book by Jordan Peterson, and he says make sure that your room is in the right state before you go out to change the world. That is like one of his that's one of his 12 rules for living a fulfilling life. And that is how I took it. Like, I have to make sure that I am okay on the inside before I go to change the world. Because if I am not stable in my belief and my thoughts, and I go and try and change the world, it's gonna be messy. So I have to do the changes. I have to inculcate the changes within and in my life first before I go out to change the world. So the biggest takeaway is that the changes always comes from within. Then it can be sustained for a long period of time rather than just looking to get a message out there and then, you know, you just inspire people in the moment, or maybe for a few minutes, for a few hours, and maybe a few days, and it's not a sustained change in the people to go out to make that change for a long time, or to be inspired or motivated to keep carrying on to do these changes.
Wow, Halsa brought up a very good point. If I can chip in, I've got 2 school of thoughts on what Halsa shared. Basically, being the change that you want to see. So number 1, I feel that Zijing, Suman, and Xingyi, please share, and Halsa as well. So number 1, I want us to share about our personal capacity, what we have done or what we are doing to combat climate change. So for example, what I do on a regular basis at home, in my kitchen, I have huge trash bags where we collect recyclables. Could be paper, packaging could be plastic packaging. We do so much shopping nowadays, right? So there's plastic packaging, there's card boxes packaging, and we keep all of those and we dispose them downstairs at the communal blue bin where it's supposed to be sent for recycling. So that's what I do at home on a regular basis. And when I do my grocery shopping, we will always try to bring along bags of our own so that we can reduce the use of plastic. And of course, to be honest, I still collect plastic bags because we have got wet food to dispose of, and you have to be responsible and tie them before you just dump them into the chute. So not that I completely do not use plastic, I just reduce my use of plastic when possible. In fact, when I was at my previous workplace, I'll always dine out during lunch, because I'll eat at my cubicle, and instead of using the plastic that they provide, I'll bring my own Tupperware, my own container. And I mean, number one, it will save me 20 cents if I bring my own container. But what I see is that I can at least reduce the use of plastic, and hopefully my actions would spark someone else to also do their own action for climate change. Do you want to share your personal lifestyle, like what y'all have been doing or what y'all did, maybe?
Okay, I'll go first. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. One of the changes I did was to cut down on eating meat. I don't eat so much of meat anymore. Eating meat is now a 3-day affair, and 4 days I go vegan or vegetarian. That's one of the things that I started doing, and I became very, very mindful about using light. I think as long as there's the sunshine outside and the light coming from outside, I try not to turn on any lights at home. That is the second change. Second change that I did. And just like you, sometimes I'm always going down to buy food at my coffee shop. So I've also started bringing my own containers. And so my mom is also like, after a few weeks of talking to her, now she goes to the market with her own shopping bags. So and I think that, sometimes being the example really helps, because now I can see her sisters are also following in her example.
Yeah, wonderful. The cascading effect is really wonderful. I mean, the reality is that as human beings, we are often influenced and affected by our family, our friends, our community, society at large. But much as we are able to be influenced and affected, it works both ways. We can also be that influence. We can be that agent of change, as I mentioned earlier. So it's really, really wonderful. Yeah. How about Zijing?
So for myself, it's very similar to oh no, I forgot her name.
Helsa.
I was thinking Hazel. Helsa. Yeah. So I feel like one thing that I've been trying to practice is to choose more reusable period products.
Wow.
And also to use you know how like during the pandemic everyone just rushing to get toilet paper.
Okay,
yes. We do have water, so that there are many times that we can use the water instead of toilet paper, or tissue paper. Yes, eat more plants, definitely. Just trying to source for better vitamins and nutrients with a plant-based diet. I also have not gone fully vegan yet, but when I do have a chance to like cook, then I'll try to choose more greens. Yes. And also I found that because of the pandemic, right, most of us are going online for meetings and for work. It's just really good that you really can change the way we use paper. So like now I read online, I listen to audiobooks, and also I do have, in the last 4 months I do not have to print anything, which is great. And I really see like things have shifted even in organizations and communities I belong with. Printing is definitely much minimized, which is great. So these are just some actions that I've done. Yes.
How about Singy?
Maybe someone can.
Maybe Suman.
Okay, I'll keep it short. Sorry. So, by the way, Zijing, your that diagram that you showed was so cute, and actually inspiring. And for me personally, right, I haven't been like, okay, other than the other topic about so eating less meat. I personally haven't been able to follow through like many of my attempts to really to to really reuse or reduce. Like I try to do it consciously, but sometimes including COVID, it really brings us back, like a step back. But one of the things that I try to do, and I think I have succeeded in some sense, is more of really my reduction of eating meat, reducing meat consumption, because okay, for a person who has a weak constitution, because I feel like I need to stand for this group of people, because people think that like eating meat, like not eating meat is an option, but actually I mean, I'm not here to debate, but like I mean anyone that is hearing as well, like, but to just share a perspective of like, for some people including me, which we whom have weak constitution, we need some vitamins that can help us, which comes from non-plant based products. So I think to get to the point, I think it's all about balance. But I think I when I tried to really go on a more vegan or plant-based diet, which is something I was really doing way before COVID, especially because because of COVID, many issues, many situations, it's a bit more difficult. Um, like I try to eat about like one to two meals that are more plant based. Yeah, and I try to make sure that, so one of the tips to make sure you get enough nutrition is not, when you eat plant based, like vegan or plant based are just basically more plant based food. Is not to add the carbohydrates. Yeah, this is just some tips. Like, don't add the carbohydrates, add the vegetables, and add a variety of vegetables. So I tend to, like, when I cook plant-based food, right, which sustains me, there is at least 4 to 5 like mushrooms, vegetables, green vegetables, colored vegetables, and protein. So you make sure that the basic nutrients are there. Yeah, and yeah, and it's usually double or triple the size of what I would eat if it would, there would be meat. So this is what works for me. Yeah, just wanted to share like
For me, I must confess that I love meat. So I will continue eating meat, but yes, maybe I'll eat more plants, more vegetables. I mean, I love vegetables as well. So I guess for me, my goal isn't really to reduce meat intake at this point in time, but yeah, like I said earlier, we all have different ways of combating climate change, and it's not all about doing the same thing. So I will continue eating meat. How about Singy, if you can share?
Yeah, I I also think, I mean, for me, I'm trying to reduce eating meat too. Yeah, I mean, although it's difficult because for us, we grew up in Singapore, and like most older generation think that more nutritious, or I mean, we grew up eating meat every single day, so it's difficult at the moment. Yeah, but I'm trying to cut down on meat at the moment. Yeah, but just I want to bring up some new points.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was studying in Japan, doing my master's in business. So I was I mean, all the while I've been interested in this topic on sustainability. Yeah, but I was thinking like, how can I write something or read something that might be beneficial at large. Yeah, so I was thinking, okay, why not I research how some CSR, corporate social responsibility activity done by the companies affect the firm's financial performances. Yeah, because I thought that, I mean, although as academic people, we shouldn't be thinking of results before we do the research, but I was a bit biased at that point in time and hoping that it will be a positive relation. Companies, when they see this research, they'll be thinking, oh, okay, it can help performance, so CSR activities as well. Yeah, so that was my mindset at the beginning. But so fortunately, yes, it did show positive relationship. Yeah, so I just want to share some of the points that that I learned during my research. So I feel that in this arena of sustainability, like people always think that we should leave it to the efforts of the government or the non-profit organizations, but actually, yeah, like we just discussed for the previous, like each individual has capability of doing so too, and also more importantly, don't forget corporates. I feel that corporates should also have responsibility as well. Yeah, so because historically, like corporates, obviously they will only care about their how much money they make, and really like care much about the environments and social responsibilities. But in the current world, changing. Yeah, so yeah, we can no longer just rely on like governments and social sector to resolve issues like Tzu brought up earlier on the SDGs. So basically, in 2015, what happened is at the UN summit, the world leaders came together to adopt these 17 sustainability development goals, and the timeline is 2030. Yeah, so I feel that most importantly, corporates take action. Yeah, and they are responsible for creating like some of those. Yeah, so yeah, in the past, like companies are reluctant to carry out CSR activities due to the cost involved. Yeah, but nowadays we can see that there are more and more companies choosing to do so. Yeah, so I was interested to know why, so I did some research, and yeah, like quite a few drivers. Yeah, so and I really want to bring up this point. I mean, I believe for us, some of us may be business owners, and I mean like all of us definitely as most of us will be working for a certain corporate. Yeah, so every single one of us has capability to make a difference. Yeah, to bring up this concept called creating shared value. So Michael and Kramer is the one who came up with this concept. So they are saying that for companies, actually CSR is not just about throwing money into the deep sea. Okay, I donate $100,000 to the old folks home. It's not just like that. So companies must try to gain long-term value by engaging in sustainable practices. So when it is used as a strategic approach, CSR can create opportunity and competitive advantage for companies while solving social and environmental issues. So for example, okay, for example, Toyota. So in response to environmental concerns relating to car emissions, so Toyota innovated and invented the hybrid engine Prius model. So this new model not only reduced significantly the pollutants, it also gave the company a competitive advantage, which is a sustainable rivals in hybrid technology. So this is the concept of creating shared value, benefiting not only the company, but also the society, and in this case, the environment. Yeah. So I mean, I wish that more and more companies would.
I hear you.
Oh, we
Cindy.
can't hear you for a few seconds, 3 to 4 seconds.
Sorry. Yeah. So I hope that more and more companies can really think about doing this, how to make use of their competitive advantage, to come up with something that is so benefits the environment, also society. Yeah. And secondly, I want to touch on a point which is close to us. So companies when they do their business, they also actually wish to meet expectation from various stakeholders, including customers, community, employees, general public, social activist groups. Yeah, so guess what? Like individuals like you and I play many of such roles, and we definitely have the power to make then. Yeah, so now the interesting part is that the way business is revolutionized. Because
Can't hear you again. Sorry.
yeah, so I was saying that the
Can't hear you. Okay.
I think when there's a knocking sound, you can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So now the world is becoming more responsive regarding to environmental and social issues. Yeah. So for example, like in Singapore, like few years back there was a haze problem, right? Which was attributed to the slash burn practices used by certain companies in Indonesia. So through media outlets, organizations in Singapore like CASE and Singapore Environment Council, they appeal to the public to boycott products from such companies. So as the activist organizations are gaining media attention and growing to become more effective in bringing public pressure on companies, there are such companies are instead of being forced legally, they are being forced by the public to take action to resolve these issues. Yeah, so as president, like the others are seeing this as well, and so they will be more aware of potential or environmental issues that might affect the same way. Yeah, so I feel that every one of us, we have the power to make our voices heard.
Can't hear you again.
Yeah, so every individual has the power to make our voices heard, and collectively we can influence companies to act.
I'm losing you again.
Collectively, what? Collectively.
Yeah, correct.
Collectively, we can influence these companies to act responsibly, socially and environment. Yeah, so don't underestimate yourself, like all of us, we can do something about it. Yeah. Another thing, so most of us, we hold investments, right? Buy shares in companies.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's this thing called the ESG investors, environmental, social, and governance, ESG. So
I can't hear you again. Maybe Sydney has to fix your internet. Maybe I'll pause Sydney for a short while. Maybe I wanna on the second point that Sydney mentioned earlier. It's about consumer choices. Somehow Sydney's background is having some knocking sound. So cute. Okay. This reminds me of Helsa, because Helsa for one she is a very strong advocate for products that she uses, and she's very conscientious about choosing the companies, the products. She'll do like research on the products, and like for one product that she recommended to me was Lush. So Helsa, could you share maybe your inputs about this topic, about consumers nudging corporates in the direction of climate action? Helsa, are you there? Hello, Helsa. Okay, she's not here. How about Titi or Suman? Do you want to chip in about consumers? Yeah.
Yes, I would just like to bring up a point that because many companies and corporations are moving towards driving their CSR agenda, right? That we have to be really careful as well. That companies are not trying to just practice greenwashing methods for themselves to look good and for their investors or their consumers to continue to support them. I think what Helsa is doing is really great. Being very careful about which companies are practicing ethically or practicing sustainably. Am I breaking up?
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
there seems to be some throbbing sound or
Yeah.
whatever that is. Like
Okay.
yeah.
It's okay. We will try to figure out that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's really important because there are corporations who may be creating reports.
I think it's from Sydney's side.
Is it some kind of feedback or something?
Notification. Check 1 2 1 2. Okay, I'll just continue for a bit more. Yeah, so we just have to be really careful about which companies are rewriting their reports, or paying scientists to forge false reports, like what some oil and gas companies may be doing. And it's really important for us as consumers to really find out which companies are really creating products that are out there trying to allow people to be more mindful in their practices, instead of those who are creating products to solve problems, but at the end of the day creating even bigger problems. So I think we really have to be more mindful about those. Yes, it will inconvenience us in the short run to really find out, I need to put in so much effort to find out which companies are ethical. But then in the long run, if we're really thinking about coexisting in harmony with our environment, right, then these are very important steps we need to take.
Agree. Does anyone else want to chip in? Maybe Singh can continue your third point. Can't hear you, Singh. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my last point is that so yeah, like what Zixing mentioned, like companies are trying to do such activities. Yeah, so yeah, not just about buying products for them, but also I was just sharing about investment. So it's not buying products but buying their shares. So so when we make our choices for investment, we can evaluate companies on such components as well, like their environmental, social, and governance components. Yeah, so I mean, if when we are I believe most of us will invest someday. Yeah, so we also try to keep that in mind when we make investment decisions. Yeah, so what all in all, what I'm trying to say is like I feel that all of us can try to educate ourselves to make informed choices, and to like the things you have to really see, like not just those companies that do for show, but really like are sincere about their effort socially and environmentally. Yeah, and also one more important point that I want to make is that I think all of us, because when we work for companies, we have the capacity to pitch in ideas or think about business ideas. Yeah, relating. Yeah, so for me, I have made this my personal mission. Yeah, to contribute to the society and environment in my corporate role. Yeah, so I feel that this is something that most of I hope that all of us can think about as well. Yeah, to influence our bosses or our colleagues. Yeah, to think about what we as a company can do for the society and environment.
It's wonderful. Like personally, I have done this before in my previous workplace. I think the thing I did as well. So for me, what I did previously in my workplace was I initiated a recycling movement. So I was there for about 3-4 years, and I had this sudden idea to initiate this campaign towards the year end, because in Singapore, in Asia, we always do spring cleaning towards the Chinese New Year. And I thought that instead of just doing the typical spring cleaning, why not recycle as we do spring cleaning? And when I pitched this idea to my manager back then, she was cynical. She said, Ivan, when I first joined 12 years ago, the president, so I was working in a university. She said, the president came to my office and said that, let's do recycling one day. So that day never came since 12 years ago. And I took it upon myself that, you know what, as long as I want it done and it's a right thing to do, I will make it happen. So without her blessing, I shared to my director, and my director was saying, good idea, but not sure how we can go about doing it. Maybe we need someone else to start, and then we we support them, but on our own, I don't think we have the power to effect this campaign on our own. She felt that the responsibility or the power does not rest on her. So she couldn't make the call, especially for such a huge campaign. So I went to my president directly, and he's very kind, very open-minded, and he said, it's a great idea. And he said, yeah, go and do it. So he gave me the green light, and with his support, I basically went to different stakeholders in my university, like the HR, the OD, the estate, and I basically tried to pull together information, resources to make it happen. So the long and short of it is that I succeeded. We were able to recycle, I think it was a couple of tons of paper, because university, you just print scores and scores of paper, and you've got like huge stacks hidden somewhere. So it was a one-off effort actually. But that being said, I feel that it's a good start, because it has to start somewhere, and no matter how small, no matter how impermanent it may seem, I feel that to start is the most important thing. When you start somewhere, it could basically, to start something, you have to overcome inertia, it's overcome friction, overcome cynical colleagues or superiors or bosses. So to start is the most important thing, and I feel that even though it was a one-time thing and I've left the organization already, but I feel that it would be able to spark momentum in the future, because it has been done before. So to do it again wouldn't be difficult. Yeah. So how about Tzu-Ting? Maybe Tzu-Ting can share with us what she has done for her company.
Okay, just a really quick one. So we do performances and events. So basically, we are committed as a whole team, right, to work in line with sustainable development goals, and really see how can we create zero waste events and also more sustainable practices. So if, let's say, our clients were to have a performance and event that requires them to engage with 1,000 residents, then what we will do on our part is to really see from the ground level at every different aspect of the event, how can we practice more sustainably? Like, for example, all our performers really do not come even to the rehearsal space. From the rehearsal onwards, no, we do not have scripts with paper. We don't print scripts. We do not encourage for people to tapao with disposables. So what we do is we have reusable coffee cups that every performer can reuse and bring back. And also on the ground level, at when we do our performances, we do encourage fellow our crew and also audiences to really be mindful about their own practices as well. Yeah, so even if, let's say, we were to run an event that has nothing to do with sustainability, but from an event organizer point of view, what can we do? I think that's really important for us to think about, just like what Singy mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Thanks, Tzu-Ting. Hausa, are you there, Hausa? Hausa, you're on mute. Are you there, Hausa?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. So Hausa, maybe your turn. So what's any input from your side? You want to share anything on this topic? Anything at all?
I think this topic is it's very rich. I also feel that I mean, I follow politics a lot, and I think that this has a very strong chokehold on politics, because for once I don't understand why Singapore, we can't use solar energy. And although there are plans in future where I've seen the sustainability plan for Singapore includes, our our public lighting, like, you know, your street lights and the lights outside on your corridor and things like that, that's going to be used for solar power. But I don't understand why when it comes to our household, we cannot use solar power. So it's basically, you know, politics and keeping the Americans happy because we trade oil in US dollar. And, you know, we still have to buy oil no matter what, even if we can take oil out of the equation. Because, you know, Scandinavian countries, like the 5 Scandinavian countries in North Europe, they are trying to do away with oil. And Sweden and Denmark they are on their way to cut down on oil expenditure, and they want to take their money that they usually spend on oil and they want to take it into redeveloping their countries in sustainable ways. So in that way, I would say that, you know, because sometimes it does feel very it sort of like pushes you down because you're like, I'm one person, I'm doing so much. But, you know, when politics is tied so closely, and meat consumption, like, yeah, we are doing all our small things on our part, but usually this you know, this pollution and all that also comes from big factory owners, or the industries that do this. Like, you know, when Greta Thunberg actually stood up and said, oh, we all have to do our part, actually the Western world, the European world, they really do their part. It's amazing how much they do. But when it comes down, it trickle down to other continents, it's pretty bad. And to know that India and China, they contribute to more than 50% of the carbon dioxide emissions and all that. So sometimes when I hear this, it can be very, you know, it puts you down. But I would like to believe that whatever small action we do, it's going to like snowball into very big actions for all of us. And I think that when someone tells me that, I would usually, you know, when they are very negative about all the small things you can do, I would usually tell them that because your small actions is going to have that butterfly effect, that it's going to just probably snowball and keep snowballing, and it's going to come something big. That's one. And also two, to really, you know, bring this sustainability lifestyle into my life. What I do every day is, no matter how low I am in my life or how I feel, every morning I get up, I write down 50 things that I feel abundant about. And 50 things, no matter where you are in your life, you can write 50 things, trust me. You can write about the abundance. Even if you think about the sun, how the sun sustains our whole planet and the abundance in it. That's one. Two, the very fact that you have your skin and you lie down on your bed, you can feel your mattress, you can feel your pillow, you can feel so many things. That is abundance in itself. You know, when you go and take a shower, you still have water, and the water hits your skin, it feels like luxurious. That's another thing. You know, and you have water, we have water to drink, that's abundance itself. So actually you can find 50 things that you are really, really you know, grateful for, and you can feel the abundance that's in your life, which in turn will cut down your consumer behavior. You feel you have enough, and deep down inside you are enough as well, and you don't need to, like, you know, cram your life with so many things that you need to buy from outside and put in. And when you become more conscious of so much of abundance in your life and what you consume, at the end of the day, you become less of a consumer, and you know what you need comes from inside. And therefore you can actually add on to this lifestyle of like not consuming as much, reusing, reducing. Whenever you consume something, become very conscious of it. I think that's what I would like to add on to this. Yeah.
Great point, actually, because especially with COVID-19, this pandemic that envelopes the whole entire world. So on my Instagram, I follow some brands, and I saw that Gucci, so this luxurious brand Gucci, right? So as you are familiar with luxury brands, they always have summer, fall, spring, autumn collection. Every now and then they have a new collection. So they thrive on consumerism. They basically need you to spend money. They need you to buy the products in order to thrive. And they basically have like the old collection, new collection. And Gucci, what they did during this pandemic times, that they released a statement, no new collection this season. And that's a breakthrough, because as a fashion house, they're telling consumers that, you know, you don't have to buy a new season of clothes right now. And I feel that it's really a good move, because I mean, fashion is basically always creating so much waste, because you're always buying the new clothes, and then you've got a lot of old clothes left. And I feel that as consumers, as what Helsa mentioned earlier, when we feel abundant from within, when we feel whole from within, it will help us to mitigate the need to consume, the need to buy. I mean, of course, we still consume and we still buy, but it helps us to manage and prioritize what we truly need and what we don't really need to spend on. And I feel that these are some things that we can do as well in our daily life to combat climate change. It don't have to be about eating less meat if you love meat like me. It don't have to be about recycling if that's not right down your alley. It can be about being more conscious about what you buy. And Helsa is really a example that I always use, because Helsa will always like do research on brands before she buys them. Helsa, you want to share a bit more about this?
Yeah, so I have this habit because, you know, online that can be, I mean, this truly started from a place where I used to buy things and then online, and you get scammed or it doesn't send up to the product or whatever. So whenever I hear a brand online or even in the shops or whatsoever, I would actually go online and have a look and see what they say in their Google reviews and what people review, and what their company culture is. For example, I'm a big fan of Lush. I literally dropped a lot of beauty products and I went to Lush, because Lush is really, they don't use a lot of chemicals, and they provide jobs for people in third world countries, and they also talk about sustainability and all that. So I always do background check, and I see, like, I'm not a fan of L'Oreal, though L'Oreal owns a lot of brands, because of how they do their business. So as much as I can, as much as my wallet allows, I try to work with companies that is doing good for our earth. And I also feel that it's not about, when you consume, it's not that, you know, I mean, if let's say you're a millionaire and you can like afford a Gucci pair of Gucci pants, it's good. If you can buy one, you can buy one. I think at the end of the day, when you have conscious living and you live consciously, it's like, it's not that you should not own anything, nothing should own you. And when you follow that nothing should own you, I think you become more conscious of what you consume.
Thanks, Helsa. So we are approaching the finale. I feel that this is really a good start. I propose that this is part 1, and then part 2 on another day we can discuss deeper into this topic of sustainability. But in closing, maybe each of us can just reiterate one perspective that we really want to bring home to the audience. So Zizi, maybe you can start first. Like what's one point that you want to conclude today's dialogue on?
Maybe Singi or Suman can share first.
Okay. Where's Suman? Is she here? I can't see her.
Yeah, hello. Okay, I look like a bit funny. Okay. Yeah, how many? Okay, so in reply to just some of the responses just now, I was just thinking about this person, Hazel Henderson. So she is, to keep it really short, she was an ordinary housewife in America. So, and at that point of time when she was an ordinary housewife in her 20s, she wasn't even a degree holder. But because of what she saw in her environment, the pollution, And like when her daughter came home one day, she would see her daughter like always covered with soot, like a lot of, yeah. And so this person, due to the, so just with that spark of concern, she decided to take action. And I hope that all of you can try to Google her. So her name is, spelling is Hazel, so Hazzel. So Henderson, Henderson. Yeah, so please try to Google and see her efforts, because of how one ordinary woman, she continued to study or like delve into the topic that interests her, and eventually she created a change. Not, I wouldn't say immediately, but perseverance. Yeah, and maybe we can maybe research into this the next time. Yeah.
Thanks, Suman. So I guess Suman's point is that one person, no matter how small you think you are, you can actually effect a change, a powerful change. And of course, you require perseverance, you require effort. It could take many years, but as long as you're driven, you can definitely make a change. Ziqing, concluding remarks.
Thank you. So I wanted to bring back the point of what Helsa said earlier about having this sense of gratitude. So if we can like find appreciation for the things around us, right, then we know it can be a way forward to not feel so fearful about not being good enough. And I feel like many of us sometimes we deal with I think before the pandemic, there was a sense of like climate anxiety, where we see the bushfires in Australia and in Brazil, and we find like, what's wrong with the world? But you know what? I feel like through this very difficult circumstances, and especially now in this pandemic, right, I see so many people, right, going their way out to create hope. And I feel like this is something that we really should strive for if we want to build a more sustainable practice. It is, if we cannot find hope, then it's time to create some. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Create hope if you can't find it. Yay! How about Xingyi? Any concluding remarks?
Yeah, I feel that for those of us who already have some ability and have some feel responsibility to doing something about that, let's have courage to really stay true to what we believe, and then to have the to carry to carry on the actions. Yeah, it might be tiring from time to time, but incorporate into our lives and make it a way of life, then we can, through our own actions, influence others. And also, I think it's important to have conversation with people who are not so interested at the moment, because every one of us started from there. Yeah, I don't believe we were born interested in this topic. So that's why education is very important, so that we can just moving forward.
Thank you, Siri. Actually, Siri has got many interesting stories to share, but maybe next time, part 2. Helsa, any concluding remarks you want to share?
Oh, okay. I just have something to share. It's this woman in her 90s that I've admired for a year, and someone who also inspires me a lot. Her name is Joanna Macy. So she is a ecologist as well as a Buddhist scholar. And you can listen to her lectures on YouTube or what, and her speeches are very moving, and it inspires you. I mean, she's in her 90s and she has a wealth of wisdom in her. If you guys are like really so passionate about sustainability, she's a really good person to look up to and to listen, because she has very, very beautiful insights. And I also recommend her book. It's called World as Lover and World as Self. If
What's
you
that
guys
again?
are interested, yeah.
What's that again? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I recommend her book by Joanna Macy. It's called World as Lover and World as Self.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you hear like the other stuff that I was saying? No.
Yeah. We heard everything. Just
Oh.
just wanted a clearer title. So World as Lover, World as Self
World as Self. Yeah, it's a very good book.
by Joanna Macy.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Halsa.
No
I
problem.
want to thank everyone for joining us today on this discussion, this dialogue on sustainability. I feel that this is just a start, and we will continue in more series to come. But let's keep the conversation going. Let's encourage and stimulate each other. Yeah. So this is the end of today's Living the NHR series. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, you
Thank
all.
you.
Bye. Take care, everyone. We'll chat soon.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.